For you tonight. This is the Dragon's Den. Coming to you live from Warren, Ohio. On Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Dragon Sword wants to make a dedication. Thank you for the introduction. The Dragon Sword wants to talk about Hulk Hogan tonight for the first couple of minutes and what an impact this man had on wrestling. Now, me myself, I was never a Hulkamaniac as I when I was younger, and he was in his prime when I was a teenager. I was always a Ric Flair fan, but Hulk Hogan was always on. Was always say your prayers, and he had a big following no matter where he went. He built wrestling into what it is today, which brings me to heroes. I mean, we've all heard about many things that he's done in his life, and some people say they talk about the bad things, some things talk about the good things. I tonight may be joined later on in the show by Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns. If he has time, he's going to call in for an interview to talk about role models and those kind of things about the Browns. Of course, we would have questions about that, but get his insight on what a role model is and his role models growing up. I had role models of Ric Flair. Uh, I liked The Undertaker and Austin. I wasn't as much, those, I was into those kind of role models as growing up. But we all had different role models. But role models have changed through the years, especially having a hero. In today's generation, I don't understand it. I want to get some explanation, maybe questions, or from the chat room, if someone would join and ask, what are today's heroes? What do you think of today's heroes? And do are we to be decided by the good things we do in life, or are we decided by the bad things we do in life? I myself, just speaking from me, I built the dragon's sword a long time ago. I built him as an ulterior personality, but he became alive because of all of you, because of all of you answering to him. So I had to answer back as him. So he became an infinite part of me. And inside of me, he's still there. It's like having two people, one mind, and it flips back and forth. Now, through the years, the dragon sword has got a lot of negativity, but that's not what I want to draw. I want to draw a positive motivation in life. And if you're out there and you need to talk to somebody, I am always available to listen. I've gone through many things in my life. And if there's one person out there that is perfect, please call me. Please tell me what perfect is. Because to me, there is no perfect person. We are all imperfectly perfect. We all have done good things. We all have made mistakes, which we regret. But we can't dwell on the past, the mistake. I lived my life dwelling on mistakes that I made rather than look in the mirror and say, look at all the good that I have done. Let me start by saying that I grew up in a broken family. And a lot of kids do nowadays. I understand this all that. There was a lot of alcoholism in my family. I developed an alcoholism problem when I was younger. And I was full fledged. By the time I was 30, I was a worker, but I still drank, and I drank pretty heavy. And then one day, I seen what it was doing, and I thought to myself, I have to quit. Took me 2 weeks. I went up into my room. I had painted my room like the doghouse. It had the orange, the browns. I had the Browns dog painted everywhere. It was a man's cave. I stayed there for 2 weeks inside that room. Never went outside, never did nothing. Sweated it out. It was one of the toughest 2 weeks of my life. But let me tell you, fans, I haven't had a drink in 20 years. That's a willpower. That's a good thing. So there is a way, if you have a problem with alcohol, you can beat it. I can beat it. Anybody can beat it. So I pat myself. No one else does. I say I will. I had a bad accident at work. A very bad accident. 99% non-survival rate, but I survived because I'm the Dragon Sword. Dragons fly, I guess. I fell 28 feet, but still survived it. Pole broke and threw me. I was a worker for the cable company. Threw me to the ground. Broke 11 bones, fractured 4 more. My career was pretty much done as a cable worker after that. Had many surgeries to repair myself. Never recovered as in the radio business much. I was off of work in so long. Developed a problem with the pain pills right after I quit drinking. Eventually, a few years down the road, I had to go to rehab for that because I couldn't beat it on my own. But I went to Rock Creek up there by Cleveland. I knew it was either quit or die. Another challenge I faced in life. I made it through. I have made, like I said, a lot of mistakes. I have 4 beautiful children. One that suffers from neurofibromatosis too. But he is the best young man a father could ask for. He stands by my side. He listens to me. He argues with me still, but that's the way kids do. They're not always agreeing with their father. But I'm proud of this young man because he not only succeeded in life, he's just got over having a terrible surgery last November, and he's already back to work. For him, I pat him on the back. I give him all the credit in the world. These are things that I like to talk about. These are things. I might have to check something. Okay, I'm just making sure if he calls in, I see it, because I have 2 boards running at the same time. These are things that I'm letting myself out for you all to hear and you to decide. If you want to talk sports, I can talk sports. I can talk about the Cleveland Browns. But I can also talk about life issues. Life issues are where you get so mad. Don't ever if someone is making fun of you, and that was the favorite thing to do, is everybody called the Dragon Sword a different name or whatever. Everybody wanted to be a comedian. And I enjoyed the attention, so I allowed it and whatever. But now I want to do something, and I want to make the Dragon Sword more powerful in motivation-wise. Because in today's world, all we do is argue with each other. We disagree with each other. We shut each other down. I see it everywhere. I see it on Facebook, TikTok. I see it on the news. Did you ever see a positive? What happened to the positive stories on the news? Nothing but negative. Negative, negative. When you are in the Dragon's Den, it's going to be positive. We want to get something out. When we get an interview, and we will get them. September 21st, Sunday, Browns Nation. The Dragon Sword is doing a live broadcast from the Browns tailgate parking lot. That's one of my best announcements ever. I'm inviting all of Browns Nation to come and meet me. And I'm just I'm just a normal person. Just because I call myself the Dragon Sword, it's just a personality inside of me. But the Dragon Sword does have power. Hopefully, he has enough power to make the Browns go to the Super Bowl. Because there's something cursed going on up there. And I intend to break it. I was around when the Browns almost made the Super Bowl. They were 1 yard away when Biner fumbled the ball. But you can't blame him. They wouldn't even been in that game without him. So there is a lot of people out there and a lot of people that want to be funny and comedians. That's fine with me. But if you really want help and you're suffering from depression or you're suffering from, people making fun of you, I always have an ear. I have the Dragons Den 321 at gmail.com. Email me there. You can call me at 234 228 2776. You can tweet me at Dragon Beats Rome on X, whatever they call it now. I will listen. And I will find the positive things in your life that you can think about. Because every one of you out there has something positive that you've contributed to this world. And if we all work together at it, we can not only make the Browns better, we can make ourselves better. And that's my intention for the Dragons Den. I've been promoting this show for a year and a half. And I finally got it on its feet. A lot of people never even thought I would. But I did. Because I never give up. Like I said, I'm proud of all of my children. And I've made mistakes with them too. There's no perfect father out there. But I have tried. And I have never denied anything that my children tried to or asked for. I let them make their own decisions because they're adults now. I don't try and control their lives. But in today's world, what are your heroes besides Hulk Hogan? I would like to know these little things, what mine are. I have one on here, Studio Chat, that, like Batman and Superman and DC. Those are heroes that he grew up with comic books. Yeah, those are that there. Now, of course, there's a lot of anime heroes. I know that because I watch anime from my son teaching me. There's a lot of Vegeta people out there. I see a lot of Dragon Ball Z. But there's some I don't even know about it. Hopefully, you younger generation, when you start listening to the show, you start teaching me about what these ones here are, because I'm willing to learn anything. There's nothing that I'm not all knowledgeable. I don't claim to be. I don't get on here like Jim Rome will and let you bash away at people. That's not my style. I'm not going to let you just bash away. I'm going to let you say what you want to say, but in a good way, and come to some type of conclusion so that we're not arguing with each other and being, because that's all he does. He feeds off these people for 25 years like a leech. And if I tell you the true story about Jim Rome, you can look it up. The Dragon Sword is the first moniker, the very first moniker Jim Rome ever banned. He made that because of me. Because in the 1990s, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all that kind of stuff like you do today. People could not get a hold of me locally, so they started calling national shows. And they would call Jim Rome and tell him, and he didn't know who I was. He absolutely did not know who I was. But it was an amazing thing that people were so mad and didn't want me to get a talk show, they were calling him live on his show and telling him to stop. And he was like, I don't know who this guy is. And he hung up on him. A lot of them he'd hang up on. So one night my brother told me, why don't you try calling him? And I did. And I was not in that kind of a business. I didn't learn that kind of a business yet. I was just a regular worker and go to work 8 hours a day, and it was just all in fun sports to me. But oh my goodness, did he ever go off on me? And he said that I was just using a name as a platform. I knew nothing about sports, and I said, how do you know? You're not even asking me any questions. You're too busy talking about yourself. And of course, when you talk to those kind of guys that high up, I don't know if you know, but they control that dial, and they can click right there within 15 seconds. You don't even know it. They have a tape delay, and they can cut you off, and you won't even get to hear what I said to him. But he is the one that drove me to do this today. I am tired of seeing clones. Why be like him? Be yourself. Make a moniker name and make yourself. Call me up and tell me what team you like. I don't care if it's the Tennessee Titans, the New Orleans Saints, the Miami Dolphins. By the time I'm done, Dragon's Den 321 will go worldwide, and you will help me go head to head with Jim Rome in 2 years. Give me 2 years. And I promise all of you, I will get the interviews that he gets. They will be better. This show will be 10 times better than his. Because at the end of the day, every day we will not finish on a negative note. We will learn something together. We will not pick on athletes or just say, oh, he did this and they did that. We are going to focus on the positive things that these athletes do. These athletes put their bodies on the line every week for us. They could have career-ending injuries in the sports they're in. Daryl Stanley was paralyzed by Jack Tatum. He's in a wheelchair, was in a wheelchair. Jack Tatum paralyzed him. This is a contact sport. And they put their bodies on the line every week to entertain. Remember that sports is an entertainment industry. And they put their bodies on the line to entertain us every week. Now, we have some rights as people to be upset and complain. But, when they do dumb things, they do dumb things. And the Browns have done some dumb things. I'm not acknowledging the fact that they have made some dumb decisions. But what team hasn't? You can't name a team out there. Pittsburgh, they think Aaron Rodgers is the answer? It's a one-year fix and they're back to wherever they are. I just think that they're so stuck with having a winning record every year that they just reload just enough to skip into the playoffs. Just enough. But never enough to get to the Super Bowl like they think, because they don't have it. Tell me what running back Pittsburgh has. Besides that one wide receiver, why did they trade their second best wide receiver to the Dallas Cowboys? Aaron Rodgers is an old man. He might still throw some more touchdowns than that there, but he is going to be in the AFC North, where there are 3 other teams that have the biggest crushing defenses in the AFC and maybe the entire NFL. He has to go against Baltimore twice. He has to go against Myles Garrett and the Browns twice. He has to go against Cincinnati Bengals twice. I don't see Aaron Rodgers finishing the season. He doesn't know it, but he's going to get clobbered. He doesn't have the line that he had with Green Bay. He found that out when he went to the Jets. You got to have an offensive line. And Pittsburgh hasn't done anything to repair their offensive line. So I kind of trended off there towards, sports and all that. Those are some of the things that I would really like to talk about. If you have any questions, feel free to enter the chat room. And, looks like we may have a little action here. The Undertaker is a role model. There's one for you. The Undertaker, yeah, he's probably, I will say, in my opinion, The Undertaker may go down as one of the greatest wrestler in history. The greatest gimmick that he had with the lights going out and the thunder and the lightning and that was just entertainment, man. Then you got that. When I went down to the Beagley Center to see him when he was younger, they would throw dry ice into the buckets of water when he came out, and what an eerie feeling that was with the steam coming right up, where he'd walk through. It was an eerie feeling. And Paul Bear always made him better too. Mr. Pringle was his real name. But Paul Bear made him an excellent job there. And he had when he was younger, he had his wars with Hogan. If you look it up, he let loose the reason he didn't like Hogan, and I'm not gonna go into that. Like I said, negativity again, because where do we draw the line on when we judge someone? We're too quick to pull the trigger and judge someone. You can't judge me by my name. You can't, because you don't know me. Get a time to get to know me, and you'll understand where I want to get to know you, and you get to know me. This is your show, not mine. This is a special tonight, where I'm hoping upon hope that we get Shedeur Sanders to call in tonight. Well, like I said, he gave a thumbs up if he had time. So, and he's been making rounds in Cleveland to greet the fans and do all these kind of things. I do have little light connections with the Browns and stuff like that, so I am in the middle of trying to get some other stuff accomplished for us later on in the season, to get weekly interviews with some of the players, updates on their health, and a different kind of a question. I let them lead the conversation. I don't bait it along or ask them. See, that you have that ability. This is the Dragon Sword's ability. You don't believe me? Boom. I can disappear. I can reappear. Just a little fun trick for you guys. So, who do you think in today's world right now is the biggest role model other than Hulk Hogan? I dare to say, I don't know if a lot of you are going to agree with me on this, but I think today's generation it could have been Brady if he was still playing. Mahomes I would say a ton of these young fans today would say Mahomes is their role model. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I think a lot of these younger fans look up to him. And he hasn't done anything not to look up to, so why not? It's a different brand, it's a different world. I'm old school. I like to, like I said, I'm of the frame of mind like when we play sports, everybody doesn't get a trophy just for participation. You have to have a winner and a loser because losing, especially when they're young, and like I coached 8, 9, and 10-year-old baseball young kids. That's when they're starting to form the competition in their lives. When I was really young, I coached 8, 9, and 10-year-old baseball for 6 years. I accomplished things with teams and young kids that no one had ever done before. On my third year, we were the only team to beat a team in our league that had won 39 straight games, hadn't lost a game in 3 seasons. And I helped, it wasn't me, helped those kids have enough confidence in themselves to beat them. And then they almost, in front of 500 people, they were coming down from, there was a new stadium down in Girard, a new field. They were watching the Girard Indians high school team, but there was such a commotion going on down at the lower field because we were playing this team in the championship game, and it was in almost 21 Action News ended up there. These kids were on TV. It made the sports news of the night. There was such a commotion on there, but I taught those kids to believe in themselves constantly. Never give up. Never, never give up. You do what the best you can, and at the end of the day, that's all you can do. Because if you do the best you can, sometimes you don't win on the scoreboard, but you can still win in life. And the only thing, the most important thing about sports is you can learn more from losing than you do winning. If you can learn how not, you take a loss. What did I do wrong? Where did I do this? You can make yourself better instead of being negative about it. Because in life, we're all going to win, we're all going to lose in some shape or form. Everything is a win or lose. So it's competition. So I definitely agree with no, everybody doesn't get a trophy just for participating. That doesn't bereave competition. And that's why, like today, I see high schools. When I went to high school, the score of football games at the end of it was 10-7, 17-13. If you got 20 points back in the 1980s, you scored a lot because the focus was more on tackling, fundamentals, defense, hitting hard. That's not the way they play the game today. The game is fast-paced, 5 wide receivers, a shooting offense. High school teams around here average 51 points a game. But I'm telling you what, I watched 2 teams and they didn't know how to tackle for anything. They're just not taught anymore. That's what I'm here for. That's what I like to talk about. Do you see the difference in today's, if you're an older person and you know what I'm talking about? Feel free to join the chat line. Soon, I will have a call-in line where you can call me live. But if I use my phone right now, it's just going to make a it's going to make an echo and we will not understand each other. Like I said, it's dragonsden321 at gmail.com. Also, Dragon Beats Rome on Twitter. I don't know the one for PayPal, so I don't even care. Because I'm doing this basically for all of you, and that stuff can come later on once we get this live. But I'm looking forward to one day meeting all of you out there in Browns Nation. And you can finally hear, because I know you know, and I know how many times you responded to me for days and days for the posts I made saying this could never happen. I was a falsehood. And I was just doing this for fun. Well, here I am. Here I am. Some of them even questioned the fact that I was a Browns fan, period. They said I'm a Steelers fan. Do I look like a Steelers fan to you? No, I can't stand them, man. There's one team I can't stand. I don't know what the second worst team is. Probably Baltimore. I don't hate Baltimore as much as I used to when they first moved. So, in this, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, as I've been running on the mouth here for like 30 minutes straight. I want to get a drink. I'm going to stop this for now, and then hopefully we will get him on as soon as I come back.